It's 2 a.m. You opened your phone to check one notification. Now you're 3 hours deep into reading about disasters, political chaos, economic collapse, and wars you can't do anything about. You feel terrible, anxious, helpless, angry, but you keep scrolling. This isn't a lack of self-control. This is your Stone Age brain getting hijacked by a 21st century algorithm that's discovered the perfect formula to keep you engaged. Fear. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why your brain is wired to consume bad news, how doom scrolling is changing your mental health in measurable ways, and the one thing news apps and social media platforms absolutely don't want you to know about how they exploit this. Let's start with a term that didn't exist 5 years ago, but now perfectly describes something millions of people do every single day: doom scrolling. It's the compulsive consumption of negative news, one headline after another, even though it makes you feel progressively worse, that you're not getting informed, you're getting trapped. And before you think this is just about weak-willed people who can't put their phones down, understand this. Doom scrolling is the result of evolutionary biology colliding with algorithmic manipulation. Your brain evolved over hundreds of thousands of years in an environment where threats were immediate and local. A predator, a rival tribe, a dangerous storm. Your ancestors who paid close attention to threats survived. The ones who ignored danger died. This created something called negativity bias. Your brain is hardwired to pay more attention to negative information than positive information. It's not a bug. It's a feature that kept your ancestors alive. But here's the problem. That feature was designed for a world with maybe a dozen real threats you could actually do something about. Now you're carrying a device that delivers hundreds of threats per day from around the entire planet, none of which you can control. Your brain can't tell the difference between a tiger in the bushes and a political scandal in a country you'll never visit. It treats both as potential dangers worth paying attention to. And the algorithms know this. Social media platforms and news apps have figured out something crucial. Negative content keeps people engaged longer than positive content. A study from MIT analyzed 3 million tweets and found that false information spread 6 times faster than true information. But it's not just falsehood that spreads. It's negativity. Content that triggers fear, anger, or outrage gets shared more, commented on more, and keeps people on the platform longer. Every second you spend on a platform is a second they can sell to advertisers. So what kind of content does the algorithm prioritize? The kind that keeps you scrolling. And that content is overwhelmingly negative. This is where doom scrolling stops being about your personal choices and starts being about design. These platforms are engineered to exploit your negativity bias. Here's what happens in your brain when you doom scroll. Every negative headline triggers a small cortisol release. That's your stress hormone. It creates a feeling of urgency and alertness. Your brain interprets this is important information I need to know. At the same time, scrolling itself becomes a repetitive behavior that your brain starts to associate with resolving that anxiety. You feel anxious about the state of the world, so you scroll to find out more, which makes you more anxious, so you scroll more to try to resolve it. This is a dopamine loop disguised as information gathering. You're not actually resolving anything, you're just feeding the cycle. Research from the American Psychological Association found that people who constantly check the news, especially during crises, show significantly higher rates of anxiety, depression, and even physical health problems like headaches and digestive issues. But here's where it gets really insidious. Doom scrolling creates something called learned helplessness. This is a psychological state where you're exposed to so many negative events you can't control that your brain eventually stops trying to solve problems altogether. You become passive, fatalistic, and overwhelmed. Studies on learned helplessness show that when animals or humans are repeatedly exposed to stressful situations they can't escape or control, They eventually stop trying to escape even when the opportunity arises. They just accept the suffering. That's what constant exposure to global catastrophes does to your brain. You're being conditioned to feel powerless. And powerless people don't take action, they just scroll. Now here's the part that should make you angry. The platforms know this is happening. Internal research from Facebook, leaked in 2021, showed that their own data scientists found that their algorithm amplifies divisive and negative content because it drives engagement. They know that outrage keeps you scrolling. They know that fear keeps you coming back. And they've chosen profit over your mental health. When you doom scroll, you're not staying informed. You're being farmed for attention. The news isn't designed to inform you anymore. It's designed to activate your emotions so you'll click, share, and stay engaged long enough to see more ads. So what's actually happening to your brain when you doom scroll regularly? Brain imaging studies have shown that chronic stress from constant negative news consumption actually changes brain structure. The amygdala, your brain's fear center, becomes hyperactive. The prefrontal cortex, which regulates emotions and makes rational decisions, shows decreased activity. In simple terms, you become more reactive and less rational. Your baseline anxiety increases. You start seeing threats everywhere. You catastrophize small problems. You feel a constant sense of impending doom even when your personal life is fine. This is called anticipatory anxiety, and it's exhausting. Your nervous system is constantly in a state of high alert waiting for the next disaster. And here's the cruelest part. Doom scrolling gives you the illusion of control. You think, if I just stay informed, I'll be prepared. But you're not preparing for anything. You're just marinating in stress. A study from Texas Tech University found that people who limited their news consumption to 30 minutes per day showed significantly lower anxiety levels than people who consumed news constantly throughout the day. Not zero news, just limited intentional news consumption. The difference wasn't about being uninformed, it was about breaking the compulsion. Because that's what doom scrolling is. It's not staying informed. It's a compulsion driven by anxiety that creates more anxiety. It's a self-perpetuating cycle that benefits platforms and advertisers while destroying your mental health. Here's the uncomfortable question you need to ask yourself. When was the last time doom scrolling actually helped you? Did reading 47 articles about a crisis make you safer? Did watching endless videos about disasters prepare you for anything? Did absorbing every piece of bad news improve your life in any measurable way? Or did it just make you feel anxious, helpless, and exhausted? If you're honest with yourself, you already know the answer. So what do you actually do about this? Because just stop scrolling isn't helpful advice when your brain has been conditioned to treat it as a survival behavior. First, understand that breaking doom scrolling requires treating it like an addiction. Because neurologically, that's what it is. You're addicted to the cortisol dopamine cycle. Here's what actually works. Set specific times for news consumption. Not throughout the day. Once in the morning, once in the evening, 15 to 30 minutes each. That's it. You will not miss anything important. Major news will reach you. Turn off news notifications. Every notification is a trigger that pulls you back into the cycle. You don't need real-time updates on global crises you can't control. Curate your information sources. Unfollow accounts that post rage bait and disaster content. Follow sources that provide context and solutions instead of just problems. Practice the 24-hour rule. If something is truly important, you'll still hear about it tomorrow. If it's just designed to make you angry or scared, it'll be forgotten by then anyway. And here's the most important one. Replace doom scrolling with an action. If you're anxious about the state of the world, do one small thing that actually helps. Donate to a cause, volunteer locally, support a community organization. Taking action breaks learned helplessness. Your brain is designed to solve problems, not just consume them. Give it a problem it can actually solve. You can be informed without being consumed. You can care about the world without destroying your mental health. And you can put the phone down without feeling like you're missing something critical. Because the only thing you're missing when you stop doom scrolling is anxiety. Leave a comment with one word. Morning or night? When do you do most of your doom scrolling? I'm genuinely curious if there's a pattern. And if you know someone who's stuck in the doom scroll cycle, send them this video. Sometimes we need permission to stop staying informed about things we can't control. Your mental health is more important than knowing about every disaster in real time. Thanks for watching. Now put your phone down.